residents, but this is really for B2B surveys only when you reach the residence or personal self number. There's a language barrier. I really want to make sure that I zoom in on this. If there is a language barrier and the respondent cannot speak or understand the language in which the survey is being done, you are not going to translate the survey. I know myself as a Spanish speaker, I want to help, right? I want to be a bridge builder and translate for them. But that is not the role that you have been hired to do. You have been hired to read verbatim. And if that script is in English and the respondent does not understand or cannot speak English, then you are not translating. Now, if there's a manager or any sort of tech barrier, that's another disposition as well. Now, you have your dispositions on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side description. So if there's a technical phone problem, any sort of dead air, fax, or a data line, any hard refusal, and again, want to focus on this one, is that if the respondent makes it clear that he or she or anyone else in the house will not participate, or they don't mention the do not call list, but they're still really rude, or they threaten or swear at you, the potential respondent might not even be qualified yet. So if there's a soft refusal, monitoring refusal, many dispositions. And again, do not call list. Now, at any time when a respondent asks to be put on the do not call list, we will comply. So you are expected to make a refusal conversion attempt after their first request. That means if they mention a list or specifically the do not call list that first time, the expectation is that you're going to try to encourage them to take the survey anyways. But if they respond a second time mentioning a list or any sort of do not call list, we have to comply, and then we will add their number to the internal do not call list. Here are some more dispositions, is if the person is deceased. So if the respondent that you want to speak with has passed away, just note that the disposition will only appear on the list of person only survey. So any sort of wrong number. So this is when a person that you are looking for does not live in the household. If the person that we ask to talk to no longer lives in the household, just note that the disposition will only appear again on that LP only survey. And if there's a quota shutdown, so when a certain category that fits the respondent's description has been filled, maybe they're looking for 50 people between the ages of 25 and 30, and then you just happen to call number 52, then that's another thing to note on there. Respondent terminates. Want to make sure that we zero in on this, is that if a qualified respondent does not want to continue and does not want to be called back after a reasonable attempt or effort has been made to complete the survey with them. If you, as the interviewer, terminate, you got to make sure that you note that in the disposition. And this is when a fully qualified respondent who is uncooperative, is verbally abusive to you as the agent, if they are highly offensive, or continuously gives irrelevant or unhelpful answers, if then you just politely end the call. Now, the disposition called suspended is when a respondent has passed the qualifying questions but needs to be called back to complete the survey. Sometimes they've qualified and started the survey, but they just don't have time to complete it. That's okay. We will suspend the call and make sure that we note that on the disposition. Now, working a shift looks like the following. Just remember that these are some of the things that these are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a laptop or a desktop computer, a wired USB headset, a strong internet connection, preferably wired Ethernet, smartphone with the Shift Smart app, because that's where you are picking up your shifts. That's where you're checking in and out of your shifts. And of course, credentials for the interviewer software. Now, we've gone over this, but your role as a political survey caller is that you are friendly with those that you are calling no matter what. We are not paying them for their opinion or time. So guys, they are volunteering their opinions to us so that we can gather information. Any shifts are typically going to be between 4 and 6 hours, and they will be available 7 days a week from 3 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can choose your shifts and manage your schedule using the Shift Smart app. You can also work multiple shifts in a row as long as there's no overlap. So if I have picked up a shift on Tuesday morning from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then I see that there's another shift listed from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, then I can't pick up a.m. shift because there's going to be an hour overlap, right? So just make sure there's no overlap. Shifts are available on the ShiftSmart app. Just remember that your first shift worked will be an audition to determine if you are able to work these shifts on the ShiftSmart platform. And remember that things here are $10 an hour. Your wage will always be posted in the shift description. Payment is based on completed shift hours on the ShiftSmart app and interviewer ready hours. You gotta make sure that you select ready. Now, pat responses and conversation points. We already know that we should read the questionnaire verbatim. Now, what do we do if the respondent asks us questions? Are there scripts for that? Well, there are, and they are called pat responses. And we're going to talk about the why, the how, the what, and the when of these pat responses. Now, if people are wanting to make sure that this survey is legit, they will call this number. This is the Survey Legitimacy Dionata corporate number, and that's 866-360-9678. And remember, guys, you do have this slide deck available to you in the chat, so you can always refer back to this slide deck after our time together if you have any questions or need this number. If you have a respond, you will call a lot of people, and there is going to be a small chance that at some point you will call someone who admits to you to threaten or harm themselves. And if this happens, you should offer the suicide prevention hotline phone number so that they can speak to a trained professional who can help them. Do not assume the role of a counselor yourself. Just thank them for your time and politely end the call. You'll report the call to your supervisor once you have disconnected. That suicide prevention hotline is 800-273-TALK. Again, that's 800-273-TALK. If there is any sort of media contact, sometimes this could happen where we contact or are contacted by someone who works for a news station, a newspaper, a blog, a radio station, or some sort of other form of media. When they figure out that we collect data pertaining to all kinds of different situations, especially elections, they might try to get some information from us. So when this happens, just always respond, "I have no comment," and refer all inquiries to ashlyn.kirk@dynata.com. Again, "I have no comment." You can email ashlyn.kirk@dynata.com. Now, if they ask you, "What are you calling about?" Well, you will politely respond, "The survey is all about," and then you'll supply general information found in the introduction script. So if the respondent asks for specifics, you can always say the best way to understand what the survey is all about is to hear a few of the questions. The first question is, and then you will proceed with the survey. Also, another really great way of turning that conversation towards that survey and getting your numbers up. If they say, "How come your number doesn't appear on my caller ID?" Simply respond with, "We used caller ID on all of our calls. However, if for any reason it didn't show up, I'm sorry, we are calling from Dynata, headquartered in Plano, Texas. I can give you our number if you would like to call it for verification. If they ask for it, give them this hotline. It's 866-360-9678. They say, where did you get my name? Your name, number, address is provided to us together with this study. They say, I'm not interested. Try someone else. If it is a consumer or a product survey, you can simply respond with saying, this is a very interesting study. The purpose of this survey is to create better products and services for you. Your opinions are extremely important. And if it's a political survey, you respond with saying, this is a very interesting survey. Why don't you try some of the questions and see if it's worth your time after all? If a respondent expresses hesitation or lack of interest, then you'll follow with the following. Your opinion is very important to us and to this study. Participating in the study will not result in additional calls or an attempt to sell you anything. Now, if they say, I don't share my opinions over the phone, no problem, you respond with saying, your answers are strictly confidential. The results will be released only as statistical summaries. They respond by saying, I only do surveys by mail. You can respond by saying, we are conducting the study by telephone so that the results can be quickly tabulated. They say, I don't want to buy anything. We are not selling anything, nor will this call result in a sales call of any kind. If at any point I attempt to sell you anything, please hang up on me immediately. Here's the first question. And if they ask you, how long is this going to take? You'll respond by saying, well, it really depends on your answers. I will go through the questions as quickly as possible. You want to make sure that you are avoiding giving out numbers or figures as much as possible. So if a respondent does insist on a figure, a conservative estimate based on the budgeted length of the survey can be given out, provided that we make it clear that it can go slightly longer or shorter depending on the answers. So if my survey, on the general information of the survey, if it says, this should take about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, if they keep pressing you, well, it might, it could take about 40, but honestly, it really does depend on your answers. I'll go through the questions as quickly as possible. You want to get away from committing to numbers. My number is on the national do not call list. Why are you calling me? Well, the national do not call list only applies to telemarketers. Since the only thing we are calling you for is opinions, the list does not apply. Would now be a good time to continue. So here's our do not call spiel. It might take up to 24 hours for your number to be removed from all calling databases company-wide. Your phone number will remain in Dynata's do not call list for a period of 2 years. Now, these are some of the do not call list laws if you need them. Information about telephone consumer rights can be obtained from these two places. So we've got the Federal Communications Commission, that FCC, and their phone numbers included here. And then the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and their phone numbers also included here. So this is if they want to investigate a little bit further on those laws. If they say, I have specifically told someone from your company to stop calling me. I can sue you if you don't stop. Simply respond saying, I apologize for the inconvenience and will remove your number from our calling list. They say, who are you doing this for? Who is sponsoring this survey? Simply respond with one of two responses. To avoid biasing your answers, we are not given that information. Or, we're never told the sponsor of the study so that we cannot bias the study results. If they say, I don't want to be monitored or recorded. So this is actually not like the responses that we've seen up until this point. So we're going to learn in a little bit, because this is scripted in every survey that we administer already. So if you have a respondent asking you questions before you've read the monitoring disclosure, it is your responsibility to first make sure that you read anything before answering anything. So simply say, I understand your hesitation, but I assure you that this is for quality assurance purposes only. This is just to make sure I'm doing the survey professionally and all the questions were asked. Your answers are grouped together with other participants and are not viewed individually. You say, or if they say, I refuse to answer that question, simply respond with, I understand your hesitation. Protecting people's privacy is one of our major concerns. The survey results are published in a statistical summary. Your answers are valuable, but if you are not really comfortable answering a specific question, just let me know and we'll move on. And I know that there are some people who are joining us or have joined us here recently. Just keep in mind that you have this slide deck in the chat if you need to refer it to any of these pat responses, any of this information that we've covered during our time together. If they say, I'm not sure my answers, or I don't understand the question, please explain it to me. What does that question even mean? Then you'll respond politely, I'm so sorry, but we're not allowed to rephrase the questions or interpret them so as to not bias the study, because these questions were created for a purpose. There are no right or wrong answers. We value any opinions you have. Please answer them to the best of your knowledge. And if they say, just put whatever you want, I don't care, you just respond by saying, I can only accept your specific responses. If I answered the question, I would invalidate the survey. Or you can always respond with saying, to validate the survey, we need a specific response from you, and then we'll read back the options for them. And if they ask, can't you skip over some of the questions? I'm really in a hurry. You say, thank you for being patient, but I must read all the questions in order to validate this study. If the respondent provides an answer before all selections are read, as we witnessed earlier as we were doing our exercises, you will say, thank you for that response. However, I do need to give you all the choices available. I can mark that for you. However, I do need to finish reading the choices. You want to make sure that, again, you are reading everything that's on your screen that you need to be reading. I don't like the topic. You respond by saying, we have anticipated there are many people that might find this topic not concerning for them at all, but this is a public awareness study designed to measure the level of awareness of the people in your area. It would be helpful if you could participate in this study or finish the study. If they say, you already asked me that question. All right, sometimes surveys do have repetitive questions. So this is a part of being empathetic, right? Simply say, I'm sorry, but some questions are repeated only for the purpose of tracking your opinions before and after hearing more information. Please bear with me. I have to read verbatim. Thank you for understanding. So again, we're always wanting to be empathetic and polite, right? What is the purpose of this study? Why are you doing this? Simply respond with saying, our customers are interested in developing better products and services and value your opinions and ideas. And if they say, I have to go, it's okay. Just assess the situation, check the time, and approximate how much longer it will take to finish the survey. Hear out the respondent's reason for cutting the interview short. And again, make sure that you disposition it appropriately. Now, if they say, I need to go now, I don't want to finish this. Well, you can respond by saying, we've completed most of this study, and I would hate to lose the information you've provided for us. I really appreciate your time. I'll try to go a little faster. Now, if the respondent is pressing you and if he's insisting, it's okay. Just ask if, is now a bad time? Let me start that over. You can ask, if now is a bad time, when will be the best time to call you back? You'll ask for the respondent's name and then at least first name, and then record that in the notes box. So here are some helpful tips. Just make sure that you are being kind. While working, you are representing our client that is listed on the script for you. And again, do not identify yourself as a ShiftSmart partner or mention ShiftSmart. Be personable. It's okay to be polite during shifts as you're dialing fast. Delivering effective intros, having no first question hesitation and applying the refusal conversion techniques as needed. So if you're personable, honestly, you're winning in this role. Be savvy. So if you're experiencing trouble during your shift, message us. Make sure that you maintain communication with us if that is happening via the ShiftSmart app for shift related questions, and keep respondents on the phone. Be ready, right? Check your computer, your internet connection, headset, all before each shift that you take. Be sure that your computer is securely connected to the cord from your router. Be sure that your computer's power cord is fully connected, and be sure that your wired USB headset is plugged into your computer. You will also need to be following the script. Pace yourself and just be sure that you get all your words correct from the script without omitting or changing it. It may not be a natural flow, but you have to read it word for word. And then, of course, take your first paid My First Shift to show us what you've learned. This is in a controlled environment to make sure that you can be successful, and it will be used to gauge if you should take on regular paid shifts. Now, getting paid looks like the following. Just be aware that you are a 1099 worker. You're paid by direct deposit for each shift you work. Your hourly rate of pay is $10 an hour based in the ShiftSmart app check-in time and check-out time online and your time online in interviewer platform. So these are 5 things to remember. You are allowed to work any 1099 roles on the ShiftSmart platform while working this role, as long as you are trained and the shifts do not overlap. You must have logged into the interviewer and checked into the ShiftSmart app to be paid for all your shifts. You must be enrolled in AutoPay to receive direct deposits within 24 business hours of each shift's completion. So no PayPal, no Venmo, an actual banking institution. You will receive a 1099 form around tax time each year if you meet the requirement. Please note that taxes will not be taken out of your pay for shifts that you work. And also keep in mind that we cannot give you tax advice. Please consult your financial advisor or tax professional. And here are some resources for you. As we mentioned, you are going to receive an email with a list of dispositions and the definitions along with them. So these are some of the ones that we've gone through. This was no contact from the respondent. These are when you have made contact with the respondent, or again, going further, no contact with the respondent. Please remember, you are getting this list of dispositions that goes in detail in your email. And of course, if you need help, we are here to support you. We want you to succeed, and we want you to stick around ShiftSmart for quite a while and earn money. So I'm gonna drop this information for you in the chat. But of course, you do have the slide deck available to you in the chat as well. So we've got our help center, and remember, any text that is in blue, bold, and underlined is a link. So you can always tap on this link, but I've also included it on the chat for you. Got our help center. Our phone number is 1-855-540-6624. We are available on that line 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have 2 emails. First email is support@shiftsmart.com. And we have payment email. It is payments@shiftsmart.com. That payments email is for any sort of question that you have regarding payments. Now, please note that you should not contact any ShiftSmart client directly under any circumstances. Doing so may result in your immediate removal from the project and our platform. Now, you've also got additional resources included in this slide deck, and make sure that you have bookmarked this, because this has got quite a bit of information for you. We've got our ShiftSmart new partner orientation, ShiftSmart confidentiality statement. You can watch a recording of this training, an outline of this training, and a 1-page cheat sheet for call help. All login credentials for you will be by email only. So make sure that you are checking your junk or your spam or your promotions folders after this training. Now, this is all the stuff that we've gone over.